Throughout our history, an everlasting disease has been haunting our society, and it all starts with our children. I'm sure that you are all aware of the problem that childhood obesity has caused our nation. I'm credible to tell you about childhood obesity because I've done a lot of research on the topic. Childhood obesity is increasingly becoming a world epidemic, and it continues to increase year after year in the United States. Today, I will be talking about what obesity is, the effects of obesity, and ways to prevent obesity. The first topic I will be talking about today is what is obesity. According to Bronwyn and McHugh in an article titled The Childhood Obesity Epidemic, childhood obesity is defined as an excessive fat accumulation that presents a risk to health. The way a person is considered obese is by looking at a person's body mass index, or BMI. Obesity occurs when a person's BMI is greater than or equal to 30. The way BMI is calculated is taking a person's weight in kilograms divided by their height in meters. Then take your answer and divide it by your height in meters again to attain your BMI. Many people are always finding new things to blame for obesity. However, it is almost as simple as an energy imbalance between calories consumed and calories expended in a day. A study shows that the average American child consumes anywhere between 110 and 165 more calories than they use in a day. These unused calories add up quickly, totaling to about 10 pounds over a 10-year span. Kids that are already overweight eat an average of 700 to 1,000 extra calories in a day that they don't use. These unused calories add up to a whopping 58 extra pounds over the same 10-year span. Many people blame the increasing rates of obesity on the expansion of urbanization in today's society. This has allowed children to live low socioeconomic lives that permits them to live idle lifestyles. Now that I've talked about what obesity is, I will now be talking about the effects of obesity. Many things are to blame for causing obesity, but obesity is to blame for many difficulties in life. Children that are obese tend to have difficulty breathing, apnea, hypertension resistance, fatty liver, high blood fats, low self-esteem, and behavioral problems. Obesity can also lead to diseases such as diabetes, cardiovascular disease, cancer, and joint conditions. Children that are obese or overweight are 9 times more likely to have increased blood pressure. This can lead to Pickwickian syndrome, which is a disease that is caused by the blood having high carbon dioxide and low oxygen levels. Childhood obesity also has drastic economic effects. In an article titled Childhood Obesity Information, Peter Miskin states that the annual cost of obesity in the United States is about $117 billion, which is directly correlated with treatments of the disease. Healthcare costs are estimated to reach about $14 billion annually, which continues to grow every year. Now that I have talked to you about what obesity is and what the effects are, I will now talk about how to prevent childhood obesity. Obesity is obviously a very complex issue in the world, but there are many ways to help prevent this disease from taking over your lifestyle. One of the main ways to prevent childhood obesity is to cut down on sugary foods and drinks. Changing your family's eating habits at home can drastically affect children's overall health that can carry into their everyday livelihood. The way a person's environment is structured drastically influences the way they act, which directly affects a person's physical activity and how much time is spent inside. An example of a poor environment is a town that has no playground or safe road for children to play on and get exercise. Parents play a large role in their children's lives and can have a big influence on their lifestyles. Parents should reduce the amount of time that their children spend watching TV and force them to go outside and get exercise. In an interview with Silene Ralphi, and a registered dietitian with Toronto Public Health, children are not being placed in an environment that allows them to get a minimum of 60 minutes of exercise per day. She goes on to say that the reason for not getting enough exercise is because children are living in a more urbanized society where there are less daily activities during their everyday lives. She then answers the question of, does technology play a role in childhood obesity? She answered the question with an indirect yes by saying that the improvements of technology in our society has allowed us to become more sedentary or simply not move. This effect allows people to live idle lives, which does not allow them to be outdoors getting physical exercise. In conclusion, childhood obesity is increasingly becoming a world epidemic, and it continues to increase year after year in the United States. Today, I talked about what obesity is, what the effects obesity has, and the different ways to prevent obesity. Childhood obesity is continuing to grow as a disease, but there are many steps one can take to prevent this disease from taking over. Together, we can stop obesity, one helping hand at a time. Thank you.